are now in the deep end of horror.
And I will see the life run out of you.
Good morning, my children of the popcorn. And today I'm here to talk to you about Boris Karloff. Yes, the monster himself. This is a Walgreens exclusive pop, and he's got the flower, which is awesome. Like Bela Lugosi, he came to fame late in life. He was in his 40s when he did Frankenstein, and he appeared as the monster in 1931. And then in 1932, he appeared in The Old Dark House, and you can see him pictured on the cover here. This is a nice restoration, and it's the James Whale film that I think, the James Whale horror film that is least seen. Also in 1932, he appeared in The Mask of Fu Manchu as Fu Manchu. And Myrna Loy is awesome as his daughter, as his sexpot daughter for that era. Of course, the Fu Manchu series is racist, but still, I have to admit to enjoying it. He was fantastic also in 1932. He was very busy. He was the Mummy in The Mummy. And while that's the Legacy collection, which I watched, I actually splurged and got the Alex Ross Steelbook of The Mummy. I haven't even taken it out of the plastic yet, because it was $10 at FYE. I try not to double dip because it's the same Blu-ray that's in there. Scream Factory at least has been updating some of their Blu-rays for putting in Steelbooks, but this is the same one that's in the Mummy collection. I just love the Alice Ross artwork so much. Then in 1933, Karloff did The Ghoul, which is a Return from the Dead feature that's pretty darn good. Then then in 34 he did The Black Cat. This is the Bela Lugosi collection, which would later be called the Universal Collection, and later still be called the Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff collection after they dropped Murders in the Rue Morgue from it. The Black Cat in 1934 is definitely the best collaboration between Lugosi and Karloff. They are both amazing in it. And then, of course, in 35 we have The Bride of Frankenstein and The Raven, another collaboration with Bela Lugosi. And then also The Black Room in 1935. Then The Invisible Ray in 1936. Well, yep, The Invisible Ray, yet still another collaboration. And The Walking Dead in 1936. Even though it shows both of them on the cover, this one is a Karloff feature. And then in 1937, The Night Key. You can see there's many different Karloff collections, but 1937 Night Key. And 1939, he would reprise his role as the monster for the last time, but that's not the last Frankenstein film that he's in Son of Frankenstein. And then in 1939, he appears in The Man They Could Not Hang and Tower of London. And in 1940, he appears in Black Friday. There's Black Fridays in this set, and that's the last of the 4 major collaborations with Bela Lugosi from the Universal catalog. And then Sorry. The Man with 9 Lives, also 1940. And Before I Hang, also 1940. And because every star had to do one at the time, he's in The Ape, also 1940. Very, very busy man. The son of Kong said has 10 ape films from the 40s and 50s. I don't know why apes were popular then, but they certainly were. I guess because ape suits were easily done. He does star again with Lugosi and You'll Find Out, but they're both in tiny parts. They just happen to be in it. Then in 1941, The Devil Commands. And in 1942, The Boogeyman Will Get You. In 1944, The Climax. Also in 1944, he appears in House of Frankenstein, only this time he's not the monster, he's the mad scientist. The Frankenstein-like mad scientist, although he's not playing Frankenstein himself. It's entertaining, and it's really short. If you like watching it, it's an hour. It's just over an hour long, and features Frankenstein's monster, the Wolfman, Dracula, a hunchback, and a mad scientist. Then in 1945, he begins his run with Val Lewton, The Body Snatcher, which is one of his best performances, one of the best performances he gave in his life. Body Snatcher is excellent. And then Isle of the Dead and Bedlam, also with Val Lewton. And those were all three the same year, 1945. Then in 1947, Dick Tracy Meets Gruesome. I bet you can guess who he played, and hint, it's not Dick Tracy. Then 1951's The Strange Door, also part of the Karloff collection here. And 1952's The Black Castle, finishing off that Karloff collection. Then in 1958, he appears in Frankenstein 1970, not to be confused with Frankenstein 1980. And that finishes off his efforts in that one. 1958 also, he did the Veil TV series. There were only 10 episodes, so I don't know why they bothered to release just 5, but there are other sets that have 10, I just have to upgrade. And in 1963, he teams up with Roger Corman, and he does The Terror, which is filmed in just a few short days, or maybe not even days. Maybe it was just a day. It was shot very quickly on the sets that Corman had left over. He appears with other horror legends in The Raven and Comedy of Terrors. The Raven is much funnier than Comedy of Terrors, but they're both great to see because you get to see Boris Karloff act with Vincent Price and Peter Lorre and Basil Rathbone. And then he gets to go Italian with Mario Bava in Black Sabbath, which is excellent. Sorry, in 1965 he appears in Die Monster Die, which is sort of a Lovecraft adaptation. Then his voice is so great that he's the Grinch in the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I apologize if you grew up with Jim Carrey as the Grinch. Boris Karloff was the Grinch. And then in 1967, he appears in Mad Monster Party, voicing his own likeness. And in 1968, he's coming toward the end of his career. He does The Crimson Cult, and also Fear Chamber. He did a number of Mexican quickie horror movies, at least 4 of them, over a couple of years, and they're not very good, but he's in them. And then finally, the last Karloff one I have is from 1970, which is a year after he passed, Cauldron of Blood. His best performance, besides Body Snatcher, is actually Peter Bogdanovich's Targets, which I thought I had, but I couldn't seem to locate for this video. But seek out Targets. It's about an aging horror movie star, and so he gets to play himself somewhat. But it's a lot of fun. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my Boris Karloff overview. Thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe, or even comment below, because I want to hear what you think.
No fair.